Anyway, earlier I pulled up and I was like, I drank a lot of coffee this morning, and so I peed right before I came, but I had to pee again when I got here. And you're like, so I said, I'm going to find some way to pee. And I'm like, yeah, so I do that kind of shit. My friends and family are so used to me divulging secrets.
Hello? Hey.
I'm here.
Great.
But I have to first try to find a secret place to try to take a pee since you won't let me pee in your house.
Do you want to go in the bushes outside?
No, I might stay in here. I have a lot of stuff I can cover up with and just stealthily pee in my car.
Okay. I'll see you in a sec.
Bye.
Bye.
Scoot doo, blabbity blue, scoop dee. Oh yeah!
Hello.
Look into lens for a sec. Gorgeous.
I'm unflappable with this, with you in this. You do whatever you want to. Take off all your clothes. Frickin' put on more clothes.
I think I'll put on more clothes.
Do whatever you want to do. And I will roll with it. I'm excited. It's fun to be here. Did you see this, by the way? Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
oh,
it's
I can
you.
hear it in both. It's, I just turned 50.
Wait until the podcast.
This is, is it not recording yet?
Go on.
I know how. Hey, Hollywood. Yeah, I just turned 50, and this is, my fiance had these made. She made this little treasure hunt for me to go around, see all my buds, and saw them very safely. It was always outside, and there was distancing, but everyone had these things. It's so weird because it looks kind of normal when you just hold it up. It looks normal, and then you put it on, and it looks kind of like Soundgarden's Black Hole Sun video where everything's fish-eyed out. It's pretty cool. Like this Simpsons mug. Thank you very much.
I didn't have my headphones on. I couldn't hear you. What were you saying?
Okay. Starting all over again.
No, I'm just kidding.
I need to pee.
Do you really have to pee again?
No.
Thanks for peeing. And what did you pee in a?
I peed in just a plastic cup
Yeah.
that was in my car.
I
I was going to get out and pee on somebody, and then I just felt like...
You were going to get out and pee on somebody?
Well, I was looking for like some kind of weird, grassy, shrubby enclave, and I couldn't find one.
Just for the people at home to understand how showbiz works, I'm going to keep what you just said in, but I'm also going to cut to what it would look like if you didn't stammer over that by just cutting out some of the stuttering.
Oh, sorry for stammering.
It's okay. I'm just going to show people what it would look like if you didn't stammer.
I was looking for grassy, shrubby enclave.
So instead of actually, so what I do on this podcast, I snap and then we do stuff and then we snap back. So this is behind the scenes.
Okay. I've seen a lot of the stuff of you changing clothes.
So what I want to do is instead of cutting back.
Oh, so you're getting shot right there. Do you have two cameras up shooting you or just one?
I got one on me, I got one on you, and then I got a wide that at this angle, it's really mostly you because it doesn't see my face, but it's fun in case we have some action.
Okay.
Also, let's just scrap the snap bit because at this point, I don't even remember what you said. Something about peeing in a bush.
This is what I said.
Look to camera. Perfect. So actually, we'll just put that in where the snap was.
Wait, you know what?
Are you worried if that's offensive?
Yeah, actually, now I look back and I feel like that is insensitive. I was playing off of you.
Because what everyone's doing to Asian Americans?
I was playing off of you making fun of me stammering because I do friggin' stammer a lot.
So who do you think people are going to think you're making fun of?
Well, I don't care. I just feel like there are people who actually do kind of have problems and talk like that, and I feel bad for doing that. So
I'll bleep it.
I just apologize. I think I realize now that was the wrong thing to do. So I apologize. That was insensitive.
Do you think that you would have recognized that was insensitive a year ago?
Yeah.
2 years ago?
Probably.
3 years ago.
There was a time, I don't know when that line is, because as you say that, I started going back, doing the math myself and going, oh, I wonder when that was. For sure, like back at a certain point, I thought that the R word was okay to say.
Right.
But that was, I probably learned in college or sometime like that. It's not, people don't think that's acceptable.
Yeah.
But then there was probably a level for a while of like, oh, fuck political correctness. I can say it if I want to. Like, people are just being, and then there's a part of it that's like, oh, why am I sticking this?
Mm-hmm.
Why be an asshole like that? So that's, hopefully in, certain areas of my life, I feel like evolved quicker than others to realize, but I don't know. I guess I'd like to think that for the most part, in all areas of my life, I'm trying to work towards being as small of an asshole as I can, like as trying to lessen the assholeness in every area. But I'm sure there are areas I still am working on. But
Sir, we just asked for your name and your height.
I just started going. It's been a while since I've been talking to people, except for my fiance. So,
you peeing in your car in a bottle reminds me of when you told me about
not a bottle, an open-ended cup. An open-ended.
What did you end up doing with it?
Because all the cups are pretty open.
Are you saying it's open-ended because you don't know where the cup is going to be?
Well, bottle you can cap it off.
Right. So where is the pee now?
This is like a solo cup, but it was clear.
Where is it?
Somewhere on one of your side streets.
You left a cup of pee on a side street,
No,
but you were
dumped it
worried
out.
about going.
No, I dumped it out in the middle of the street. It's evaporated right now. Probably, hydrated some birds, and killed a snail. Or
What it
slug.
reminded me of was when you came to a show at Venice, a stand-up show I was doing, and it was me and my buddy John DeWalt, and you were talking to us about Last Man on Earth that you were working on, and if this is a big secret, I'll take it out. You let me know after. But I remember you told me that you got a note that from the network that you weren't allowed to, because they get out of the car and empty bottles fall out. And they weren't allowed to do that because it's promoting driving drunk. So instead, you said that bottles filled with urine come out. Do you remember that?
It's the. I do remember that, but the story's, I think, a little bit different from what I remember. I think that it was always that they were bottles of urine coming out. So I think that what they didn't like is they were like, no, you can't have bottles of urine.
So you said it's lemonade.
In the script, we said bottles of lemonade fall out of the car.
Right.
And that, because a lot of times they don't even give a shit about the standard stuff. They just don't want to be liable for it. So like, as long as it's explainable and it's in a script and they could, go to whoever gives them shit and says, nope, see, it's lemonade because it says it in the script.
It's kind of like a club that doesn't care if you're 21 or not. If you have a fake ID, they'll let you in, but they have to at least have done the minimum amount of work.
Yeah. Like another trick that you would do is in the early going, when Kristen Schall's character and my character, Phil and Carol, Tanny and Carol, were having sex, we would write in there, they have sex and come to this, crazy orgasm. And then because of that, the whole context of all the stuff in there was built around this orgasm. And then if she makes a crazy sound, orgasmic sound, we can't have it because an orgasm's too much for TV. But if you write in the script, as we started doing later on, they're in the middle of sex, or they're no. We'd say they're in the middle of foreplay. If it's foreplay and not sex, it's different, and you can like move around.
Standards and
more.
practices is more comfortable with the girl coming from getting her vagina eaten than penetrated.
No,
am I saying that right?
No, if you're saying they're in the mid, like if there's no orgasm involved and you're not moving at all, you could just have a little more freedom. It's they're still not going to let you pump into each other.
Right, but you're saying you could get away with the same stuff on screen that you normally couldn't get away with if you wrote it that way, but you could write it a different way. You could write, they're under the covers wrestling, and then he stubs his knee and yells in excitement. But then on camera, it looks like you guys are having sex, and you bust a big load, and you yell in excitement.
Say the first part one more time, because I'm pretty sure I remember. Tell me the first part of that one more time. Just say exactly what you just said.
Sure.
I need to hear it again.
Sure. They're under the covers wrestling, and then he stubs his knee and yells in excitement.
I need to hear it. I do need to hear it, though, too.
Okay. So they wrestle. You write in the script, they're under the covers wrestling, and then he stubs his toe or his knee.
Yes. So there was a... I remember there'd be all these things. It would drive me crazy. And it was an incredibly nice woman who was the standards and practices person. So it was tough because she's got a job she's got to do. I don't begrudge her that, but it's just tough because you've got to fight with this awesome woman, and whose job it was is to bring down the hammer on people trying to get kind of sexual stuff or violent stuff. Violent stuff, way easier to get through. I mean, God, you can shoot somebody in the face, basically. I think we did shoot people in the face.
So just for
no
comparison,
problem with that.
Shooting with a bullet in the face is fine, but blasting a fat load on a face.
Even some... Okay, wait, I have a... Let me go... I'll go a little bit into detail on one particularly... I have two stories. Remind me about...
the first one.
Freaking... No, I can't remember either of them.
Well, man.
Okay, the under the cover nipple stimulation, and then just say Sudeikis.
Okay, so you're going to tell me nipple stimulation now.
So there was during this period where we had to argue stuff. That show Scream Queens came out, and so they would let them do all kinds of raunchy stuff. So I would go and watch that stuff, and then when they'd have an argument, I'd say, "Well, Scream Queens did this," where. So our thing where we're being, this is, many arguments I was able to win because Scream Queens existed.
Like they're your older brother.
And they let them do a bunch of stuff. So thank you to Scream Queens.
Shout out to Scream Queens. We'll put their Instagram handle up here.
During that same period, there was I think it was New Girl. It was either New Girl or Mindy. No, I think it was New Girl. Somebody was getting like his penis massaged under the table by a foot with a sock, so like it wasn't a naked foot. Right. No part of, like, it was over his pants too, but very clearly, if I can remember correctly, very clearly an orgasm happens.
Could you give us an example of what that would look like? I'll be the foot. You be the orgasm.
Oh. I can't remember. I mean, it was years ago, and I can't remember what I did last night. But from what I remember, it was an orgasm. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? You let this person orgasm and show their face, and we can't even hear the sound of an orgasm over an exterior shot of the house? This was in the early on, before we started, being artful about the way we wrote stuff into the scripts to protect ourselves. But it was because in the script, they, it didn't say that he orgasmed. It just said, I didn't read the script, but there was some kind of explanation for it when it was just like, oh yeah, no, in the script it
So if
says
you want
they're just.
as a writer, if you want there to be an orgasm, but you can't write it in, do you then tell the director, hey, let's make an orgasm happen here?
Yeah, I mean, you just go, well, they're having sex, but we can't say they're having sex. I mean, it's so crazy. You can't.
But do you have to remember all of these things that you couldn't put into the script? That you have like this confidential script, this like addendum?
No, because it's not a ton of stuff. It's, most of the time you'll know beforehand. They flag everything before you start even going to shoot it.
Well,
like you turn in your scripts, it has to go to every department, and this is for every network has this situation. It goes through and standards and practices has to check it out, and they'll tell you, oh, this is okay as long as you don't show this or this. They'll give you a bunch of little notes to consider. A lot of it also has to do with, oh, you can't use any kind of, make sure you don't use a brand name product for this or
Speaking of which, I hate to cut you off, but I would like to hand on over to our sponsor,
Marshall Rug Gallery.
We'll be right back. If you're looking for just the right flooring, you need choices. And at Marshall Carpet One, you'll certainly find them.
And we're back.
What'd you think of that product? Oh shit,
I loved it.
Oh, I thought it froze. I'm so used to doing these Zoom podcasts, I forgot that you were actually here.
Yeah. Okay, so there are two things which you don't even have to fucking remind me of.
I was about to say Sudeikis and nipple twitches.
First, I'm going to do the nipple thing. So Kristen Schall's character, Carol, we eventually, after several seasons, and spoiler alert, but you've had time, so if you haven't seen it, serves you right.
You said spoiler alert beforehand, so you're allowed to say.
Yes. She gets pregnant with my child, and at a certain point, we're trying to get her to give birth. I think she's overdue, and so we're trying to do different things that can coax the baby out. One of the things, there are a couple different things we're trying. There's, you can put hot sauce, have her have hot sauce, do foot massage, different things. One of the things is nipple stimulation.
Is this in real life to induce labor by playing with the nipples?
I mean, in real life, I was not trying to induce.
No, I'm saying in real life, is that an actual trick that you're implementing into the script? Or
this was in real life. There was a list of things that we looked up to see like what as part of the storyline was looking at these things, and so with the knowledge that you're not allowed to, at least with Fox, while we were shooting the show over that 4-year period, you were not allowed to do any kind of movement during sex. Like if you showed on-camera sex, she would just have to be not moving at all and just like, oh, I'm really. You would never know it was
Isn't
sex.
That how? That's what sex with the ex-wife is like.
We actually, very nice. You would actually have to say something like, oh, we're having sex. Isn't this great sex we're having? Because you would never friggin' know. So knowing that you could actually be having sex if you're not moving at all. Fast forward to season 4, we're doing this episode where we're trying to get her to give birth, and one of the things we do is we've tried a couple other things, and we get to on the list nipple stimulation. So it's just like a scene where there's a close-up. You start on a close-up of me or her, I can't remember. Just you can't see anything other than our face, and it's like, is that working? You feel anything? And she's like, no, not yet. And then you keep kind of going back and forth with the close-ups, and then we wanted to cut to a wide shot, which was just me. You don't see any nipple, obviously. You don't even see the outline of a nipple. You just see my hands under a sheet, talking to her about, nipple stimulation and how that's, I forget what it was. Nothing super graphic, just bring up the fact that that's what I'm doing at the moment. The sheet's not even moving, even in editing. It's so crazy all the shit you can do, but one of the things we did was you can just cut out the area where my hands are going under the sheet, and you can freeze that area, so for sure there's no movement.
Right.
So the other part of the scene, like the place where our faces are not frozen. We're still having that scene, but the area of the sheet and where my hands are not moving at all.
Well, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but for the people,
this is a great, fascinating story.
the people who are watching this on YouTube who might not understand what you're talking about, I want to show them. So could you just, while you're telling me the story, just for a moment, play with some nipples, and you can move your hands, and we will make the freeze movement happen?
Sure.
Great. And in case we can't do it, will you actually just freeze it and move your head around? Yeah. So we'll use one of those two. Okay.
Okay. So anyway, this was kind of maddening because there was nothing sexual about this. This was about childbirth, and it was all very clinical. Mm-hmm. There was no movement, but they wouldn't let us use the wide shot, which was
the reveal of the joke.
The reveal. I mean, the joke still works, but it was for sure funnier to cut to the wide. There was just something way dumber about it, and it was just maddening to know that the rules existed, but it was like there was something taboo about even discussing a part of childbirth. It just seemed it was just a bummer because there were a lot of like unwinnable arguments that it felt like all the time I would go like, I want to take Fox to court and fight. I want to say, because the other thing would always be if you said like, oh, okay, you can say dick once, or maybe you couldn't say dick. I can't remember. You can say dick if you're calling somebody a dick, but not if you're referring to a dick. So it's like,
could you say pussy ever?
No.
Now, do you think...
Scream Queens probably could.
Do you think this is part of the patriarchy?
Actually, I don't know, but wait, remember that question, here's the... Okay, keep going. I can go back to it. Go. What's your question?
Do you think that has something to do with the systemic patriarchy that exists, where we could blow people's heads off and such, but we can't talk about child labor? You can't stimulate a nipple, which I haven't met, and I don't mean to be tacky, this is just my experience. I haven't met a woman who doesn't love to have her nipple stimulated. So why can't we talk about these things? Do you think it's because men have been in charge and they are saying but child labor is gross? There's just came out in the Supreme Court that your schools and or bosses can determine whether or not healthcare will pay for birth control. And then the counter argument is, well, if birth control is a choice of God, then I saw a tweet that said something about then so is a limp penis, so we should ban Viagra or not let...
That's the thing that always, it's like, it's all that stuff is like, it's just fucked up. Like, I didn't know that insurance does cover Viagra, but doesn't cover birth control.
Now, do we know that it does cover Viagra? Because that made sense for a joke for me, but I'm not sure that
I've seen
it does cover
in too
Viagra.
many. I've seen it because I asked my fiance, and she said yes, it does.
Now, did that make you feel jealous that she knew?
No. As far as like in a relationship, it's kind of like in golf, the best ball format. It's like,
I don't know what that means, the best ball format.
Best ball is like when you're playing golf, if you're in a best ball tournament, I think that's what it's called, best ball, then if the two of us are on a team, whoever's ball goes farthest is the ball that you use. And then if I do one that's like, I only hit it 25 yards, you hit it 250 yards, I pick up my ball at the 25 ball mark We go out to the 250-yard mark, and we're both starting from there,
The
motherfucker.
best way, I love that so much, and the best way I could think of that is when I go to Vegas. Sorry, the camera shut off. Hold on.
Ah, shit.
I know, it's really annoying, man.
I was making a good point. I've never thought about that, but I do think that that's a good way to think of a relationship. It's like, whenever I hear of somebody who's like, oh, the one person in the relationship couldn't get over the fact that the other person got so successful. It's like, are you kidding? I would be so stoked if my partner was, and she is. She's an amazing partner. So it's like, just be happy that, for the success of any part of your family. And so, yeah, that is always interesting to me.
The Vegas thing I wanted to tell you is when I go to Vegas, I love to play blackjack. And when you sit down at a table with your friends, it's fun. And everyone, you want all your friends to win. You want to win. But your hand is the most important hand. Like if you get blackjack, I'm super excited for you, but what am I going to get? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's my money. So it's fun when we all pool our money together and we place bigger bets, but we're all in on the same hand together. So we're all like this. Like every hand, the stakes are amplified by however many people are there, and
that's interesting.
It's so fun because
that's a fun way to look
you
at it.
lose together, you win together.
Yeah, so you can all commiserate together. There's no like, oh, this guy, I'm so happy for them because they won, but I'm jealous because I lost.
Also, if you play blackjack objectively right, which there is an objective game to it, your odds are, it's like 48 point something %. And the more hands you play, the worse your odds get. So also, you have a better chance of winning if you put it all together. So it's just fun. It's fun. Yeah, I grew up where my grandfather used to say, marry a rich girl. And I never knew if he was joking. I know now he's serious, but it was like a jokey thing he would say. I always...
Wait, you're Ohio, right?
Yeah, big time. You're born in California, I thought.
Yeah. I was just saying.
Link, you're here.
Good friend for remembering.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, that means I understand. But then I grew up and I found out that people get like jealous if their significant other. Usually, the guy would get jealous if the girl makes more money than them, and it's like, what? Take me on some trips, baby. I don't get that. Tell me about Sudeikis.
Okay, so this is back to the standards and practices, and this is the last story I'll tell of this, because it's like, again, the woman, I really love this woman who was in charge of standards and practices. She was a wonderful person.
Could we get her on the podcast?
It's more just the system that I would be mad at, but she, unfortunately was the person who had to be the mouthpiece of that system. Anyway, this was the other nonsensical thing that drove me nuts, is that you'd be able to say a word once, but then it's like, you can't say it more than once in an episode or something, or like in a movie, if you can, a lot of times I think a PG-13 you can say fuck once, but if you say it twice, it becomes R. But let me go back to the world that I was involved in, which was the TV stuff I'm talking about now, and you would hear all the time. I'm spacing on the term for it, but you would be able to say a word once, but not multiple times, and that pissed me off so much. It's like, if you can say it once, why can't I say that? Use that as the only word I say throughout the entire episode. It's just crazy. If you can stomach hearing it once, you can fucking hear it a million times. It drove me nuts. And the one of the I think it was either the last episode that we shot for Last Man on Earth or the second to last, or one of the last couple that Jason Sudeikis was part of, and there was some element of the script that called for him to be talking about goat piss. I think it was goat piss. And he says goat piss once, and then he kind of improvises something within that same conversation, uses the term goat piss again. It was really funny what he said. So in the edit, we used goat piss twice. Mm-hmm. And it's not like we're trying to get them to say the word shit. It's the word piss. Which isn't, I mean, is piss a horrible word?
We might find out in 5 years it's really, 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 really bad.
Yeah.
And you might ask me to take this episode down because piss is starting to get offended. So
okay.
I'm not sure, but right now it feels like piss and crap are both the type of words that don't feel like bad words, but when you go to somebody's house who's very religious, their mom doesn't want you to say either of them.
Yes, but from a TV standards thing, crap you could say a million times if you wanted to.
I would love to see that in a show.
Piss you can say once. It's
Which is interesting
piss
because
and crap are about the same.
No, piss is
So
better.
anyway,
Piss is sterile and crap is bacteria.
Yeah. Yes, I'm with you. Anyway, I fought so hard to get that second goat piss in, and I lost every time I lost. And basically, we had to do this weird thing where you took out the is part, and it's like, so if you watch it now, it's like goat.
Oh, so it's in there, but it's almost like it's censored.
His mouth says piss, but he can say goat piss the first time. The second time, we had to take the is or maybe it's goat is or something like that. But and it was that fucking drove me nuts. That to me was the stupidest thing I'd ever heard, and it was maddening.
Well, I have so many thoughts going on in my head right now.
Say all of them. Each one start at A.
Well, people who watch my podcast already are on board with this frame of thought and over communication, so I'm probably not losing them. Anybody, if you haven't seen my podcast before, then you probably don't know about Marshall Rug Gallery, my father's area rug store in Northeast Ohio. Let me give you a little inside info. Carpet, hardwood, rugs, and luxury vinyl. And we're back. Well, the things that happened during your story...
You have a good snap, by the way.
Thank you.
Good, solid snap. I got a good one on one side, but this side's always not.
You know why? It's because you've been influenced by standards and practices, and you can't do things twice.
Thank you. Hey, let me ask.
Hay is for
I know
horses.
That you have hello. Let me ask.
Hay for horses, or is hello for horses? Maybe it's hellos for horses.
Hello is for horses.
Hey. Rick.
Forgot what I was going to say.
Perfect.
Oh, that was it. That was what I was stumped on. Rick. Still forget.
Do you think you'll remember later?
No, go back to what we were talking about. What were we talking about?
A. He wanted me to start at A. Well, here's what I want to tell you. So, I don't want to give you this as a compliment because it is a compliment, but I don't want to be interrupted with you going, oh, please. So just let me say what I'm going to say, okay? That actually makes it really hard for me. Am I allowed to say hard? Are you allowed to reference a boner without showing it?
I don't remember. Yeah, probably.
Well, so here's what I want to say. You're one of the funniest people in the world.
Rick!
I said don't mess up my timing. No, I'm just joking. You're one of the funniest people in the world, and I know that because I've seen so many times where it's happened. So that's there. I know that. Then you meet somebody who's one of the funniest people in the world, and you have your expectations. I guess when you meet anybody, you have expectations, and it's best to not have those expectations, but you do. So here I am, I meet you, we work on Futile and Stupid Gesture, and sure enough, just like in all the movies I've ever seen you in, you're just, I believe it's still referred to, I might be dating myself, but the it factor. You just do this thing, and you just... Part of it is what you've worked on. Part of it is luck. You just have your voice is able to make funny sounds. Your face is able to make funny faces. And then you're good at comedy. So it's all this stuff. So here I am on my podcast with this. I mean, Forte's over. This is awesome. And I want to do what I do, right? which is snap with two hands. So you're telling your stories, and I have to make sure that I'm not talking too much and interrupting, because if I have to pick the thing I'm best at, it's interrupting. But also, there are moments that are coming up that aren't necessarily the greatest, but they're ideas. They're ideas. And the timing that I have with you, and I take full responsibility for this, we're not on the same thing. I might be projecting, but let me explain. And I'm going to give you a bad example, because this joke was a bad joke, but it's just talking about the timing of it.
Okay.
You were talking about the standards and practices woman.
Yeah.
Headphone go out? No, we're good. You were talking about her, and I noticed, and it doesn't matter, and you're doing the right thing, but I noticed that every time you brought her up, it was going to be about a complaint about the job. So you made sure to say, by the way, she's fantastic. I love her. She's great. You know, she's the best. She's the best. So then you could get away with this thing. Very professional. I love it. So now that's in my head. I want to call you out, but I'm not gonna, because why interrupt to notice something? But then when you talked about how great she is again, I said, we got to have her on the podcast. And you kept going. You didn't hear it. You didn't acknowledge it, whatever it was. As that's happening, I got insecure for two reasons. One, I interrupted him for a fucking bullshit comment.
That was upsetting.
And two, wait, was there one or was there two? Oh, the other thing was, Will's doing what I think people are supposed to do, which is, if it's not worth acknowledging, just steamroll past it. So now I'm thinking, well, could I not throw out little jokes so we can't like improvise bits? Because am I joking too much when you're telling interesting stories? Does that make sense? Like, let me add context to that one more time. One more point. This podcast goes from like fake mustaches and goblins pooping on people, for example. Could you look to your shoulder and say ew?
Ew!
Right. To it being like serious, you know, oh, your brother has one arm. That sounds like it must have been tough. You must have had to take care of him, or whatever the serious story would be. And now, Will, while I'm at it, let me add a third complaint. I have people leaving comments all the time saying, Rick, everything's fine. Nobody cares. Stop complaining. But I stop complaining. Why don't you tell me to walk on water? Because I can't stop complaining. So now I got those out there. I want to know if you connect with any of the things that I said, agreed or disagreed with them.
A ton of things. Like, first of all, the thing I agree with you at your point 3 being. First of all, let me go back because I remember what the thing was that I forgot earlier.
Perfect.
Which was snapping. Can you? I know you have a firm, powerful snap. Can you snap really fast in a row?
We'll have to wait and find out.
Okay. Good things come to those who do just that. Okay. If what I remember
Get to it.
Well, see, that's the thing. Is like what I'm doing right now. I can't. I stammer a lot. Mm-hmm. I do. I talk slow. I think slow. Sometimes I'm fast, but I can be challenging to talk to because you got to wait for it a little bit because I go on for a long time. I go on for a very long time. Sometimes I'm jamming.
Your whole life, you feel that you think slow or your thoughts come out slow?
How
could somebody who's as funny as you not think fast? That doesn't make sense to me.
I think that I have a lot. It might even be that thing where I got a lot of competing things going in there, and I got to sort through them. It's either I'm very, very slow or I'm too fast. I'm guessing I'm very slow.
Has that been an obstacle for you in your life outside of show business?
No, I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing that I was going to say, which was you criticizing yourself for certain things, interrupting, doing all these things. That's what makes you you. You're so fucking funny, and that's you. The stammering stuff is just who I am. Like, I'm super OCD, like you, in different ways. I get it heavier than others. And, all the time somebody will say, oh, well, you should go and talk to somebody about that. You should take...
About your OCD.
Or find get medication. And it's like, no, this is who I am. I don't want to... If I remove that, I'm maybe removing the thing that makes me function. Like, this is who I am, and that's who you are, and it's fucking great. Certainly there are things, I think there are things that can, I bet there are positive ways that I could deal with the OCD that will remove harmful elements, make me easier to live with.
Could you give an example of...
I don't know.
Keep talking. I can hear it. I got to turn my phone off. It keeps dinging.
Oh, okay. I'm just saying something like a lot of times it takes me a long time to get out of the house because I'm checking the showers and checking the ovens.
You're talking about rituals. Checking things that aren't logical.
Yeah. I mean, now it makes sense. My fiance cooks a lot, so she'll turn on the oven and the stove. For 17 years before I met her, I lived in the house where I basically probably used the oven twice. I would use the stove to make some omelets every once in a while, but even that was like, I would go out to eat a bunch. So I would, maybe say for a month, I didn't use that stove or the oven at all. Every time I left the house, I would be checking that stove to make sure that it was off.
Yeah, I do that.
And it's just the thing.
It's exhausting.
So I bet that there's a way that I could. I started reading a book about that, and it's so weird. I do it in a pattern too. It's like making sure, and then I'll walk away and I'll go like, did I just imagine that I checked it?
I know.
Or did I not? And so I'll go back and check it again. It's fucking dumb, but
Has COVID made this worse for you?
No, I find that sometimes, I'm sure that it's reflected in other ways with COVID, but sometimes it seems like other variables that are thrown into it might lessen the effects of some things. It's like my brain focuses its problematic stuff in another area. So it's not like my OCD's gotten better. It's just like, it goes into other things. So yes, the OCD is strong about washing hands, making sure I'm less likely to get COVID because of the way I am.
Yeah.
Which is good, but also I'm fucking a crazy person.
I know.
So like,
it's so hard, huh?
I don't have it as bad as some people. Like mine is a playful version of OCD, if that makes sense.
Do you ever have to turn stuff off or touch stuff so many times you're just like, fucking, then give me COVID?
Olivia, my fiance, if we're when it gets really bad is when I'm, like, say I went to work in New Zealand and I might be going back there. When I leave my place for New Zealand and it's the last check, it takes me forever. So I have to bring her around and go, just go through my checklist with me. And so I go, and I'll go through, I'll do my, and then for me, that should be enough.
Do you feel that you need to apologize for doing that? Do you feel that some people might be offended by that thing you just did?
No, it's the way I am. She's
the noises,
she has to watch. Oh, yes. I don't do that. I don't do the noises. Sometimes I do. But anyway, I do that and I go, it's off, right? She'll go, yes. And then we can leave and go to the next area of the house. It's
How does it make you feel to be in a relationship with somebody? Either way, I am in a relationship with this type of person now, who accepts these things of yours and helps you with them, walking around with you. Is there a sense of, have you been in a relationship with somebody who didn't understand it or accept it as freely as that?
I don't remember anybody like shitting on me for the stuff. I think
Bring the mic closer to you.
I think it's I think no I mean certainly she's awesome and like as well as being patient with that stuff, she's a million other things which are just happens to be the right thing. It's great. This is her, by the way. Have you met her?
Mm-mm.
She
Does she make socks?
She made these socks. Well,
Hold them up
What-
for everyone to
okay.
see.
this is
Lady
so
Marmalade.
there's a little backstory to this. She it's pretty freaky. She sometimes will fall asleep with her eyes open.
like Major Pain.
Sometimes just a little teeny bit, and sometimes open to a degree that is kind of freaky. And I'll not be sure if she's awake or not. I'll come in, and I videotape her all the time, and it drives her crazy.
Can we
and I
put up
take
a clip?
pictures. Yes, I'll ask her, but yes. And we're back.
That's a great product or
Yeah.
video of
Yeah.
your.
So anyway, I take pictures of her all the time, drives her nuts. And at some point, I also did this. There was this, I think it's called the Patternator or something like that, some kind of app. And I used one of the pictures of her sleeping with her eyes open to make a pattern. I sent it to her. And then for Valentine's Day, she had these socks made
All right,
of her own face. So yeah, she's awesome.
I gotta go back. I gotta go back to more confessing stuff with you.
Oh, by the way, can I? Yes, but can I give you your present first?
Could you show it to me and then give it to me after? Could
Fuck
you?
yeah.
Great. Yeah. Why are you giving me a present?
I got a couple of these because I had a friend who's a fan of this, and I found this online, and then I got a couple of them because.
I like how
I
you
was
don't
like,
want
I
to
can
tip
give it
what it
some-
is yet.
Do you
Scream
know
Queen's
what
puzzle?
this is? Do you know what it is? It is a puzzle. Do you know what this is? You probably don't, you young fuck.
I can't see. It looks like it's blackout. I can't see though.
Yes.
Is it?
Do you know what blackout is, though?
Yeah, it's the guy. It's the guy with the mustache who screams. Right?
You don't know what this is?
Yeah, it's the guy with the mustache who screams, who because the
Because I have a feeling once you know what this is, you can't live without this.
yes. Well, first of all, I have some information.
Do you know what that is?
Yes. But I have something that you
Show
might
me
not
you
know.
know. Show me you know.
I can't live without you, girl. Now the reason.
Not even close.
Now the reason it's.
I mean, close. There are a couple words that I gave you. That,
He's one of the greatest musicians of all time.
Who?
Blackout. Well, that's the hit song and or album, but he's the guy. So basically, a backstory. That Surfer song
First of
came
all,
out
it's
where
a-
they go wipe out, and that was a huge success.
Yeah.
So I can't remember his name right now, but I know that he ended up doing the Blackout thing.
Well, you can't remember his name because it's a band.
I'm saying the guy with the mustache, the
I
model
don't
who
believe
posed for this.
I don't believe that this is
It was
a member of.
yeah,
the
it was the
band.
drummer's brother who posed for that 100%.
Oh, this could. The drummer's brother.
Yeah, that sounds like a really bad
The
Sherlock Holmes
guitarist.
sequel.
Okay, I'll say the guitarist does have a brother. The brothers. I think it's the guitarist. The brother's name.
I don't
is,
know, man.
The
Just tell
brother's
me.
name is Michael Schenker, who is okay. You don't. You have no idea.
You say it that
pretending like
you
this.
know, Mike Schenker.
Michael Schenker, who
Yeah.
I believe was in the band UFO.
Yeah, IFO.
But
we
his
do.
brother is Rudolph Schenker.
who sings, I can't live without you.
Maybe you do know this
Yeah.
band.
I love that puzzle too. Incidentally, I've done it already, so I know how it goes.
I'm going to give this to somebody else because you clearly.
Tell me about Blackout.
Blackout is a wonderful album by the fucking Scorpions.
The Scorpions, actually, I do know of because they sing that song that I really like to play on Guitar Hero, and I don't remember which one it is.
It's probably Rock You Like a Hurricane.
Yeah. Da-na-na, ta-ta-ta.
But then they also
Yeah.
they have a bunch of great. I'm still loving you. That's a great song. This album is fucking rad.
You're holding it as if
Can't live without you. Dun, dun.
you're holding the album like you were hosting
There's
a
no
late
one
night show.
like you.
Will, you're hosting it like you're holding it like you're hosting a late.
Blackout.
And I would love for you to act as if I am the band Blackout or Scorpions, and you're introducing.
Down to Gorky Park.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to do this
Listen to the
game.
winds of change. And then let's see what else. At the zoo. I mean, there's a ton of great things. What game do you want to play?
Who gives a shit? I want to be honest. Will, Jesus Christ.
Listen to the winds
I'm not going to
of
use that puzzle.
change.
And I don't want to.
Yeah, and I'm not going to waste it on you.
Yeah, I just don't want to take it if I wouldn't play with it.
Can't live without you. Are we done here?
No. But thank you for bringing the puzzle over. Have you seen that video where a baby gets wrapped up? There's a version of it where it's an avocado, and there's also a version where it's a banana, and that like they're intentionally giving this child a really bad gift, and like so the kid would be disappointed, and it's just a joke gift.
Yeah.
But the kid opens it and she can't believe that it's a banana. And it's so heartwarming. And she's so excited about the banana. And the mom goes, do you want me to open it for you? And she goes, yes, yes. Oh. And it's just like, and
she loves
it.
it. Oh.
And it's so sweet. And I do know that would be a nice way to receive that blackout puzzle. But also, I live a life of one, not wanting to manipulate truths to make me or the other person more comfortable. And two, I can't have more shit in my house right now. So I am looking out for Ricky in an hour from now by saying thank you so much for thinking of me, for having extra puzzles, and you were coming over and you brought one and said it's a gift, wasn't even wrapped. But
So it's got to be wrapped to be a gift for you?
it doesn't have to be wrapped to be a gift, but it would make me believe it was a gift more
So
than
if
just
you ever had a kid and it comes out of, the childbirth process,
which we
kid
can't
comes
show,
out,
but we could talk about.
You wouldn't call that a gift,
Absolutely. That's a huge gift.
but it's not wrapped.
Gifts from God don't need to be wrapped. A gift from a friend better should. Mark Twain. If the mom handed stop. If the mom handed the daughter a banana that
So
wasn't
this isn't a gift from God?
No.
And I'm not calling myself God. I'm saying that God was working through me to give you this freaking puzzle, which is hours of enjoyment, to put together this puzzle.
Those are the types of people who think piss is a bad word. The people that think God gave through me that puzzle. If the mom gave the daughter a banana that wasn't wrapped, the daughter wouldn't have the sense of memory to realize this is a gift.
You would have fucking shoved that banana in your mom's face.
Don't do that.
Thankless.
Don't do that. What?
By the way, my mom told me to tell you, because I told her that you're coming over, that when Disney...
La 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 la. Okay.
When Disneyland comes back, she wants to go again.
That
And
is so funny. I was just thinking about, well, it must have been because we were just talking on the phone. What a delightful time.
what a random trip we took.
We took such a random trip. For those who don't know, which is basically everybody
Most people
but
probably
8
know.
people in the world. We went a couple of years ago, probably 3 years ago,
Yeah.
maybe 4.
I would say 3.
I went. My mom came down.
You or I were on the phone, and my mom was in town.
Yeah.
And
I was going to Disneyland with a group of people. We had gotten one of the guide, the special tour guide, which is expensive, but so worth it because you get to actually bring a pretty big group of people.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 12 people, and so it's still expensive. If you split up that cost amongst the 12,
Which
you
we
can
didn't,
do it for
and
you're
thank you.
already. You're welcome, but I'm just saying for anybody who you're already paying quite a bit of money to go to Disneyland. It's pretty expensive, And then, as long as you're doing that, just freaking go for it, because those tour guides will get you to the front of the lines. You know, every once in a while we'd have to wait 5 minutes but a lot of times we'd just be right up there, and it was we really got to go to pretty much
we got on all the
every
rides.
single ride we wanted.
We
to
heard
go
all
to.
the secrets about which was the skull that is a real bone in the Pirates.
They're giving
ride.
you all this
All the
information.
And but when we were on the phone, my mom wanted to go to Disneyland because we go when she's here, and you said you're going. I said, oh, my mom and I want to go, and you said, why don't you come with us? And for anybody that wants to know a little bit more about what my relationship with Will is, it's basically this. Will and I did a movie together. We hit it off, and we became friends, and we see each other twice a year. So we have seen each other at this point 5 times maybe. So we like each other, but we don't get lunch. I don't know you that well. And then you say, let's go to Disneyland. And our moms met, and we had this day together that was like, they say you bond the most by going through war or fighting with somebody. I would say I agree, but a close second is a day at Disneyland. And we'll cut to a clip.
And we're back.
Sorry, snap and say we're back and then just keep going.
And we're back and just keep going.
Okay. So anyway, I wanted to explain that this trip to Disneyland we took together was also like, there is a novelty that I have with some friends in my life who I was such a big fan of before I met them, where you remember, oh, this is Will Forte, and it's like, and it's a weird thing that I had when you invite, like, my mom, like, how cool. My mom is going to get to meet Will Forte. There was that. And it's just an interesting dynamic to be friends with somebody you're a fan of when it's not in that order. Like, I'm fans of my friends because I'm friends with them. I love them, and we've come up the ranks together, and I'm so proud of what they've accomplished, and I knew it all along, and blah, blah, blah. But then when there's somebody who I grew up laughing out loud at, and then he wants to take and pay for my mom and I to go to Disneyland. What a fun trip.
You guys did buy your own tickets. You just didn't have to pay for
We bought our own tickets,
tour
yes.
guide part.
Right. But still, to pay, we didn't have to wait in any lines.
That's true.
And also, like, I didn't feel like we crashed your party at all, but like.
No, oh my God. Everyone, it was a wonderful.
So fun.
Everyone really got along. It was just a delightful day. I wish you guys could have stayed around for later, because we stayed around, me and my mom and our friend Claire and her mom stayed around and went to dinner at the, what's it called?
Secret
Club
place.
51 or something.
Whatever it is.
Is that what it is? Club
I've made a hard
50,
rule for
I
myself
forget.
that if I don't remember a specific that is irrelevant to the story itself, which is subjective, but we have our instincts, if I don't remember it within one beat, I go through.
You know what? I'm going to try to learn from that, because that's a great idea. That'll help me.
Yeah, like when you go with 2 years.
There's something about like the needing. That's an OCD thing for me, which I know sounds dumb.
No,
It's a tiny thing, but it's like part of my head keeps.
You need to complete something.
Is thinking about that. Yeah, I need completion of that.
May I? Are you allowed to put completion instead of orgasm in a script? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, they would. I think that would still be. I mean, yes, you can write orgasm or completion into a script, but if it's for network TV, saying completion would be the same as saying orgasm. You would just have to say. You would basically have to just lie and say it's something else.
Well, that compulsion that you have of needing to complete it and or get it right and or not tell a lie or whatever the version is, I have a little trick for you that might be, it's about accepting the thing as being done. It's like, what does that mean? Like, you need the stove to be off. If you could accept that the stove is off, it wouldn't be a problem, but it takes you 2, 4, 10 times to accept it. So for me, to accept, like, making these rules for myself of knowing I've gone through this pattern enough and realized the satisfaction I get by remembering the name of the restaurant, or was it Tuesday or Monday, isn't important enough. to where I could just go, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm explaining something soliciting and don't need to, but
Yeah.
this is my little trick.
No. I think that's great, and that actually, I did the one time I did read a book about OCD, which oddly enough I did not complete the book.
Right. I was gonna say,
Which sounds
I'd have to read it 2 or 3 times.
Crazy that I need a completion thing, and maybe it worked so well on me because I didn't complete it, and but yeah, it basically was saying that in order for you, like, there's the only way to. I'm paraphrasing because it was like 10 years ago that I read it, and the stuff that I did read was basically saying you have to be okay with the concept that something you do could kill somebody. like basically,
Yeah.
because basically your head is thinking forward to the worst case scenario of everything.
Of the butterfly effect before it happens.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't think that my stuff is, I'm not as nervous that my stuff is going to kill somebody. Mine's a weird thing about property. Like, I don't want to, I'm especially OCD about other people's stuff. Even a hotel I'm kind of nervous about. I want to make sure that I don't leave a sink on, because my nightmare would be having to leave a house when the water company has turned off the water. So I know that there's no way for me to check that
The sink is on.
the sink is on or off.
What an amazing, if you, for some perspective, what an amazing thing for that to be your nightmare. Like, everybody has tweets, and you could pin the one tweet that defines what your account is or the thing that you're promoting or whatever. And if your pinned nightmare was that the water might be left on, it's actually a blissful world of lack of other worries.
Oh shit! I don't want to.
Try not to say that again on the. It's okay to say it once.
I don't want to. I don't want to get eaten by a shark. I don't want to plane crash, suffocate, get burned alive. Like, it's my nightmare would be to leave my house with the oven on and the shower going, get onto a plane where we go up, somebody somehow on the plane skis across my face.
Why would there be skis?
I don't know. And then right as it ends and there's this slice up my face from ski tracks, because that's something I think about, is because we're from a skiing family, and I think all the time about what would happen if you're ahead of people in deep powder and you fall and somebody skis across your face. So I get up in a plane, somehow the seatbelt sign has gone off, and somebody just takes out some skis that happen to be up there and skis across my face. Then the plane crashes into shark-infested waters. The plane crash part of it sucks. But somehow I don't die from the plane crashing, and I'm sitting in there as a shark chews at me, but I'm still alive.
I'm out.
And the fire's happening, and then I just start drowning, and then I ultimately drown. That's a collection of my worst nightmares.
Well, I have to ask you what I wanted to ask you before. I want to be able to be completely free with you. I want to be completely free. That has nothing to do with you. I just always want to be completely free. I want to wear what I want to wear. I want to say what I want to say, and hopefully everything that I do is okay, right?
Yeah.
I have one thing with you that I want to ask your permission, or at least find out I can't do it.
Okay.
And before I bring up you, I want to bring up a friend of mine.
Okay.
Shout out to Jeff. So there are times when I have guests on the podcast where I want to like, all right, get to the point. I want to say, all right, okay, like enough of the plane. We get it. Skis, plane, it's not worth it to me. Yeah. But I might be wrong. It might be worth it to the audience. And also, then I look like an asshole. If I'm the boss, if I'm acting like a boss and be like, got it, great, let's cut that, I'll go on to the next thing. It's like, fucking, he's sitting on your balcony. Just relax, boy.
Yeah.
But also, now I'm distracted because we've set up so many things and we haven't even gotten to it. We were talking about Disneyland, and then we're talking about skis on the face. But that's fine. That's fine. But what I want to be able to do is, all right, just let's get to it. That's rude. Now, my friend's brother-in-law, this is not you, this is unrelated. My friend's brother-in-law stutters. He has like a real stutter. I guess I say that because I don't mean he stutters sometimes. I mean like it's a thing.
Yeah.
Do you know anybody who has a real stutter?
No. I mean, not a close, I can't think of anybody.
Having a conversation with somebody who has a real stutter is, it's an interesting feeling because you can't sympathize truly with this person, because you don't go through that, but you're both going through the same thing at the same time, right? And sometimes you know what the person's going to say. So when somebody has a stutter and it's taking them 30, 40 seconds to get out, how are you? I know what they're saying. I want to just say, I'm fine. Like, I want to say, don't worry about it. Like, I know what you're saying. But then you're cutting them off. So my friend who's the brother-in-law and my friend Jeff, he said to me, Rick, by the way, if you ever know, because sometimes it's like the last word they can't get out. We know what the last word is, especially if they say the first letter. If we just left a movie and I said, did you enjoy the moo? Did you enjoy the moo? I know you're saying movie, so I could say, yeah, I enjoyed the movie. But you don't want to cut the person off. That's rude. Yeah. Jeff gave me permission for this guy to say, if you know what he's going to say, he wants you to just finish the sentence. It's fine.
Oh, really?
So I assumed wrongly, but I definitely made an assumption. Oh, people with stutters want you to finish what they're saying. As if it's a hard rule. It's kind of like, do you know that when there's a blind person and you're helping them guide them, you don't grab their arm to guide them. You put your arm out, you let them grab your arm. Yeah. Do you know about that rule? The reason is if you're pulling somebody, they're not in control. Yeah. They're being pulled.
I mean, can you grab their arm so they can be oriented to?
Yes, okay. to grab yours. But the default position, the goal of that would be to let them hold your arm. That way, they're still in control. It's their choice. If they want to let go, if they don't want to go that way, it's their choice. So that's kind of like a default that if I'm ever helping somebody cross the road, I would know, let them have your arm. My arm is here. Would you like to grab my arm? I felt the same thing with the stutter thing, right? So when I'm in conversations with people where they are, let's say they're trying to remember, is it Cafe 51 or 50? I want to say, it doesn't matter. Just go. But that's so rude because just because it doesn't matter to me doesn't mean it doesn't matter to you. So I have two options, and both of which are unsatisfying. There is me saying, it's okay, move past it, and now I'm rude and I'm making you potentially feel bad. Or the other option is to sit there and let the momentum, perhaps 30 seconds of thinking of what the restaurant is. So in a perfect world, I would be on the same page with this person where I could say, do you mind if am I being rude? Do you care?
And so I would say, since this is a podcast, you can do whatever the fuck you want to, and especially since it's your podcast. But guess what? I'm part of your podcast right now, so I can do whatever the fuck I want to.
You're a huge part of the podcast, and one of the fact that you agreed to do it and you're here doing it, it's like,
I'm great because of that. What a great friend.
I bring this up in a bigger picture because I do talk about self-awareness a lot on the podcast, and I talk about autism a lot on this podcast. And only in the past few years did I become aware of the fact that when I do, I know what you mean. You know, when I rush people along, I'm potentially making them feel unimportant or that I'm being aggressive towards them or whatever the negative feeling is. So these are, relatively speaking, new feelings, new awareness for me. So I already have so much to calculate all the time with the bits I'm doing and everything else and the OCDs. So now I have this one on top of it. So I apologize to my audience if I have stepped on the momentum of what this could have been. But it's really important that in this situation, I acknowledge this with you, because this is something that I'm battling, and I believe I could get an honest enough answer. So I'm not trying to find a hack with you to get through this podcast a certain way.
Yeah.
Here I am, opposite, as I said before, and I mean this isn't a compliment, I mean this objectively, one of the funniest people in the world. So their opinion matters so much. And when when I'm feeling it isn't there in any moment, that's my insecurity and my weakness, where it's hard to just be a professional and just go with the flow. And I have to acknowledge it, because if I don't, I'm nervous and I don't learn.
Well, it's very interesting you say that, because two things. Number one, I've never felt during this entire conversation that it hasn't been effortlessly flowing. It seems, I would go, oh, it was really fun talking to Rick. This was, like, I've really enjoyed this so far. I don't feel like anybody, yes, certainly I go off on tangents that take forever to listen to. But so first of all, if you didn't bring that up, I wouldn't have ever guessed that you were feeling that way about what has been happening. Second of all, it's very interesting that you say if I feel like I have a version of what you have, but mine's the other way. Like, you cut somebody off.
Get to it. I'm just joking.
No, that's exactly it. I'm the other side of it, where it's like I'm maybe, this will sound almost self-complimentary, and so I apologize for that. I'm not trying to, but like, I think I'm problematically too aware of other people's comfort, and I maybe in an annoying way like I'm in my house. I don't want the neighbors to ever, like, if I'm in an apartment, that's a better, because in a house you're a little more separated. But if I'm ever in an apartment, I don't care that much about the person making noise above me with their feet, but I then don't want to be making that noise for the person below me. So it's like, I have in my house, this is now back to house stuff. My neighbors have parties all the time. They're awesome. Sometimes they'll wake me up a little bit, not much, but then I don't want to be the person who keeps anybody else in the neighborhood up. I'm not as concerned about them, because I know that they will go and, but it's like I overdo it. And by the way, it's not in every regard. I'm sure there are times that I'm thoughtless. But most of the time I'm a little too aware. Like, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I don't want to.
But I would argue that that's not being aware, but that's projecting.
Okay, that's good. Also, a lot of times it's more of a thing where it's for people I don't know at all. And
Does this have something to do with, like, the same mentality of celebrities feeling they have to tip a lot because people will talk about them?
I mean, I'm sure there are people who do that. I tip a lot because I want somebody to make a lot of money and have a happy life.
Well, I meant that as a metaphor, as in, like, people that you don't know you're worried about because they know who you are. Is there a part of, is that built in at all?
That'll be more in, like, if I'm having a fight with my fiance or some kind of, I don't want anybody to know my business.
Right.
Which is weird, because then I go and do podcasts where
you want to control
talk
what they
about
know.
private stuff, and I've certainly, like that pissing thing in the car.
You want me to take it out?
I'm just going to be, no, I don't care.
Okay.
But the thing is, I did pull up. One of his rules is I can't use his bathroom, which I think is wise because, especially after knowing, it's probably more important for me because you're the one who puts your poos in there. And I did hear that at some point, COVID lives in your
again, if you could not say that word anymore, you've already said it.
In your chutes for longer than, but then somebody else said that maybe it's not a contagious element of the COVID. There's so much stuff that you don't know about COVID. Anyway, earlier I pulled up and I was like, I drank a lot of coffee this morning, and so I peed right before I came, but I had to pee again when I got here, and you're like, so I said, I'm going to find some way to pee, and then you said, will you call me back and say that exact same thing? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, so I do that kind of shit. My friends and family are so used to me divulging secrets. It's a very weird thing. It's also like my OCD is so weird because you would think you'd come over and when you think of OCD, you think of somebody who's got everything, everything just perfectly lined up and their towels are, it's not always the case. It's like different people
there's different
have
things.
different things. And my stuff is, there could be piles of junk all through my house, but I'll know exactly what's in each pile and don't fucking move one from one pile to another pile.
My friend John comes over sometimes and, sorry, and like moves stuff and rotates stuff a little bit, and he's being funny. He thinks he's being funny. He doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah,
But
it's not cool.
But also, he doesn't go to town and push shit over. I mean, the littlest thing. So I mean, it's there's something cute about it. Yeah. But it does still affect even if things aren't perfectly but like I do have a thing where all my labels need to be facing the right way. Incidentally, my towels do have to be a certain way. I'll have to sometimes do my towels 3 or 4 times to make sure all the folds are symmetrical and everything is put a certain way. But Will, there's also something about like...
Do you let other people fold your clothes?
No.
It's very interesting because it... in a relationship and she knows I like to do the folding in the relationship.
It's good.
But she'll fold stuff too, and it's like there used to be a point where I would refold stuff, and then it's like, what is there going to be a crease in some other,
but did she shake? Like I shake everything before I fold it to get the spiders out, and if somebody
got spiders in your dryer,
I don't know. It's not a logical thing. It's just I was once afraid that there's a spider, so now I shake everything before I use it.
I'd say that as if I think you're crazy. For sure, a lot of times if I'm putting on some shoes that I haven't put on in a while, you step on the shoes a little bit.
Or shake them out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because I don't want to kill the spider.
That doesn't seem crazy to me. I mean, the nothing seems crazy. It all that's just the way our brains work.
Yeah. The thing is, I'm also like, we didn't talk about any of the stuff, which is fine, but like we didn't talk about MacGruber at all, and I don't think that you need to talk about it as far as a promotional aspect, but it is it's a top 10 comedy, and here's the star of it.
Thank you.
And we didn't talk about it, so I'd love to invite you back another time, and maybe we could talk about it at some point.
I will say, I'll just give you a little tidbit. We're freaking working on it, writing it, and hopefully they're going to let us do it.
Netflix.
I think they will. No, it's Peacock.
Well, what's the like the thing, the NBC Universal where The Office is going to be going on? It's not out yet, right?
I think it comes out soon.
Right. It's a streaming thing.
I think it comes out in July.
Yeah, big news for those that don't know. The Office is going to be taken off of Netflix and onto the Peacock network, which is a huge get for them. That's like Rogan going over to Spotify. So many people are going to sign up just for The Office.
We watch so much Office in our household. A lot of Bob's Burgers.
Oh, you know what I wanted to tell you? And I don't even know if I'm allowed to talk about it on this. I guess I'll have to think about it and maybe bleep some of these things. But with my friend John, we came up with this idea before during one of our podcasts, actually, like just improvising, and it was funny. And then afterwards, like, I think this is like a legitimate, like, let's try to write this. So we ended up writing it and turning it into a cartoon. And we've been pitching it around. We're working now with, and again, I might have to bleep this stuff. I don't know the rules, but working with Party Over Here, Yorma's company. And we just pitched to Bento Box, which is who make Bob's Burgers.
Every element so far is a home run.
And I know this isn't the most professional route, but this is just, off the professional record, but on the podcast record. We have dreams of you being one of the voices. So if anything comes to fruition, I'm gonna come to you.
That's great, by the way, and thank you for thinking of me. And God, I love Yorm and all those guys. Wait, is it Party Over Here or Party Down Here? Party.
You know better than me, and I apologize. I thought it was Party Over Here. Party's just beginning. Party Over Here.
Party Over Here.
Lonely Islands group.
Yeah. Oh, maybe I'm thinking of. Isn't there a show called Party Down Here?
Party Down is a show.
Oh, that's probably what I'm.
Here's one of those where I'll be like, whatever. But
those guys are so awesome. They're and yeah,
they're so.
I'm in.
You're in?
Yeah.
You know, it would be cool if this show gets put together and I could document the origins of coming up with the concept on the podcast, casting you on the podcast. I would love to have Bento Box on over.
Bento Box is rad.
They're
great.
amazing.
Yeah.
We pitched to them. They really liked it. We haven't heard back. It's been weeks, so I probably won't hear back. But I'll tell you later about what the show is. It's fucking phenomenal. And
great. I'm very happy for you.
Anyway, I wanted to say that so I could have this documented, as I was saying, in case it comes. I want to do a little highlight of, look how the show came from Take Your Shoes Off podcast. But you're working with Yorma, and you guys are writing it still?
Yep. Me, Yorma, and John Solomon.
And it's a series.
Yeah, right now we're doing our rewrites on it. So we'll have to do several layers of rewrites. We still need to be officially greenlit. So it's, we're working under the assumption that something's going to come out of this.
Yeah.
But if it does, in fact, go down, we've already written the first drafts, and we're
how many episodes?
Almost
10?
halfway through. 8 episodes.
8 half hours.
8 half hours. Yeah, roughly half hours, because there's no. It's not like Network where you got to have 21 minutes and 39 seconds and 13 frames or 12 frames or something like that. This is, you can do 26 minutes, 29 minutes. We're working through our first pass, which is our rewrite pass for story stuff. So it'll be like trying to make sure that do better jokes, solidifying all the story, because there's a lot of shit that happens in the 7th, 8 episodes that we're like, oh, we got to seed that in through the beginning, so we're doing all that. Then we'll probably have to go through again and lowering the budget pass and take out some of the cool action stuff, which is what we had to do for the movie anyway, so we're used to that. And then we'll probably have to go through and do like a COVID pass, because things are just going to get shot differently until there's a
like you
vaccine.
Told me party scenes will be difficult, like big
group
scenes.
Like it's near impossible to do. Well, don't say near impossible.
Well, don't say the S word, but you could say near impossible.
Yeah.
Well, you said that may lower the budget. Would you look to camera and snap so you could show me what you mean?
Sure. And we're back. So anyway, we're working our way through all the MacGruber stuff, and we're hoping to get a green light.
How is this lesser budget?
Well, we're obviously, buying in bulk is helpful. You're always going to get a better price on something that is in bulk, and we actually have a production company that is also involved in the bacon game. So
I need you to bring the mic closer. You could move the mic too if it's hitting the wall.
Jesus.
Can't hear you very well.
What? I'm just as close as I was before.
I don't know, maybe you're talking softer.
Okay, sorry. Is this better?
No, it's a little too loud. I can't win here with this. Bring it closer. Okay. We can edit out all the microphone stuff. Just we'll cut.
Keep it in.
Okay. So explain to me how that buying bacon outfits in bulk is going to save enough money to where it makes it easier for the show to get picked up.
Well,
and don't you feel it gets in the way?
It's not just money. No, it doesn't get in the way. I'd say the exact opposite. It's like Einstein. You know, Einstein, people said, you look in his closet, he's got like 10 of the same outfits. Never has to think about what he's going to wear. There are other people who do that too.
Homer Simpson.
For this, it's like, we don't need a wardrobe department because we know what they're going to wear already. You don't need hair because it's under this. It's like...
Is everyone wearing bacon, or are they different costumes?
Everyone's wearing... This is it. This is MacGruber. This is Vicky. This is Piper. This is...
So I'd imagine you had to write in...
The Colonel, the General. This is the bad guy. This is everybody.
Well, I would imagine that since you guys are all wearing bacon, you've probably had to write this in the script. So could you give me a little excerpt of one of the scenes that you would be doing as bacon, where you were MacGruber? Yeah. And you could also play, the General or whoever else, whatever scene you're picking.
Sure. Well, I don't know what you're baking up over there, but I'm about to sizzle your pan. What are you talking about, MacGruber? What do you think I'm talking about? Move over, bacon, because now there's something meatier. It's called more bacon. It's that kind of stuff. It's that kind of related to...
8 episodes of that?
Yeah.
I have a question. Is your age a secret?
No.
You already said it. You already said that you had your... Right. So I just think there's something really beautiful about just if this opens up on you doing that and it just says, I'm 50 years old.
It is funny that like we're I'm gonna move and we're gonna sell my place, and so we're going through because my house is, I've been in the same place for 18 years and it's super cluttered, and finally somebody who knows how to decorate a house, my fiance, has moved in, but we got dogs and so we want to move away for slightly more east so we can find a place with a yard, because that's the trade-off. Get a little further away from the ocean, but you can potentially get a little bit of a yard, which is, you don't have much of one in Santa Monica. But anyway, I've been in the same place. There's clutter everywhere because there's very little storage space because it's a Craftsman built in 1913. So anyway, I'm going through and kind of packing stuff up so we can actually put it on the market. We can go put it on the market. And I have 3 coffee table books. One is this book it's like a book of these wonderful shark photographs that my buddy Mike Muller did, who I think a lot of people probably have this book. It's a pretty popular coffee table book. And he and I went to junior high and high school together, and I was in his wedding. So he's like one of my best buddies. And so I have this awesome book. And then this other book that's like Los Angeles, it's just got a bunch of old iconic shots of Los Angeles through the years. And then I have this teeny tiny little book that just says farts. And I got it a long time ago, and there's like a little battery operated thing where each page corresponds to this thing that you press and it makes a little fart noise.
I like that book.
It's great. So I'm thinking, what kind of choice is it? Is it a smart choice if I just, in decluttering, if the only thing, because the other thing is the coffee table that I have these books on, the shark book is probably like this size, and then it's maybe even this big, and then the Los Angeles book is probably this big, and the farts book is like this big.
Right.
And so I think it would be a really awesome statement to just have the only book that I have in there just be that little teeny farts book. It's also red and yellow, so it really stands out against this dark brown.
If you decide to have more books, I incidentally I would call it a gift, but it's not wrapped. But I have that is intended to be a gift. And I got this because over the holidays, I did 8 nights of TYSO. For every night of Hanukkah, I did an episode.
Yeah.
And I gave everyone gifts. And I have a gift that I have left over that is brand new. It's nice. It's a $40 coffee table book. And if you would use it, I would love to give it to you.
I don't accept gifts that are not wrapped. I also don't give gifts that are not wrapped. So
I understand. Before I wrap it, I would like to show it to you.
I don't want to see it.
I don't want to oversell it, but I am confident you would think it's, like, legitimately, not ironically, an amazing...
Get it. Go. Quickly. Don't waste my time. Get it.
Hindsight and all the things I can't see in front of me. Isn't this nice? Hardbound. It's a $40 book. And I would love to give this to you. It's never been used.
I would love it.
Yeah, I would love to give it to you.
Yeah.
So here it is.
Is it a picture book or is it like it's...
Well, there are pictures. See, like here's a picture of some black and white swirls, and it says, "We got reprimanded for that. It was worth it." I mean, if that doesn't entice you to what... And that's just a random page. And then there's other stuff like, look at all these pictures. Here's them on SNL. I mean, you might even be in this book. Were you ever on SNL when JT was on?
I was.
I bet you are. Now,
I'm a big fan of his. He is a very nice guy, and he's very, very talented.
In the classic sense, he is an entertainer.
Yeah.
I would argue that top five entertainers that are still around entertaining today would include Justin Timberlake and Jamie Foxx. What are your thoughts on that?
Jamie Foxx is so amazing too. Yeah. I mean, I would have to go through and think of who different entertainers are that are like. You're saying like the 5 tool players.
What are the 5? There's singing. There's comedy. There's acting. What's the other one? Dancing and gambling.
Dancing, definitely.
Fashion?
I mean, if we're talking all-timers.
That are still now.
What?
That are still around
Still
now.
around.
Yeah.
Well, Kristen Wiig, just because she can do everything.
This does not mean funniest.
No, I know.
This means different skill sets.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kristen Wiig... she's an amazing actress, amazing comedian. Does she have a good singing voice? I didn't know that.
She can sing. She can. She could probably play offensive line for a football team. That's how good she is at everything.
Here's one of those moments.
I just think that she's just really good. But I'm gonna go. I'm just just fuck you and listen to my list. Okay. Yes, Jamie Foxx. Amazing. What can't he do? He's in that same category. JT, same. I would say when you're thinking about classical entertainers, and I'm not even especially I don't have a lot of Bruno Mars albums and stuff, but I would say that most people would, I would not have a problem with people putting him in that category because he's, obviously a super gifted singer and dancer, and
songwriter.
Yeah,
but the writing doesn't count as a performance aspect. I think singing and I guess singing and dancing is 2. But I feel like for this you have to have at least 3.
Oh, so you're saying I don't know.
You could
how
cast
Bruno
them in a
Mars
drama. You could cast them in a
acting
comedy. They basically, here's what it is. They could get at least 3 of the 4 of an EGOT. An EGOT, for those that do not know, is an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony.
So you got okay, so that immediately
Three,
made
three.
me think of Neil Patrick Harris.
I think he's great. I can't see him in one of the greats. I did see him, however, in a bathroom once with Larry David at a CAA party, and it was just the 3 of us in there, and I got a laugh from Larry David. I got a smile and a noise from Larry David.
He is.
Can I tell you that story?
Yeah, please.
Do you know him? Were you on Curb?
I've met him
Curb,
before.
Were you?
No.
So, what?
One of my all-time favorites.
they just
I got to go to a dinner party once where I was seated at the same table as him, and I could barely talk. I could barely
is he
talk.
the-
I
is-
just didn't know what to say because I am such a huge fan of his, and he's very nice. I
Very
just
nice.
happened to be I was at the same table as him and Diane Keaton. It was this. Bill Hader was there too.
Oh,
I can't
he's
remember
on the list for
everybody
me, by the way.
else's- Oh, Hader.
Bill Hader is
yeah.
is top 5 for me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go on.
No, so it's just like that's one of my I have a hard time with I have a hard time having a conversation with people who
Right.
who are like my comedy heroes.
I want to tell you my
Easy
story.
to talk to you.
So I'm in the bathroom, and in this bathroom, it's a men's room. There's one stall, and there's a door. So you walk in. There's a sink, no urinal. There's a sink, and then if you want to go pee or poo,
Wait, start over again. I was busy.
yep. I'm at this party,
Yeah.
and I go into the bathroom, and it's a bathroom that there is a sink. It's basically like a bathroom in an apartment, but it's at a restaurant. There's
Okay.
one stall, but the sink is separate. So if you have to go to the bathroom, you basically walk into the bathroom, and everyone is waiting by the sink to use this stall.
Okay.
Right? And by the time there's somebody in the stall,
Wait, is it a big area so that a bunch of people can?
yeah,
be
it's like
waiting
the
by
size. It's like the size of the balcony, but a bathroom.
So like more than one person
You
could
could
be
fit
waiting. For
5
you
or
in
6
the-
people could be hanging out by the
Oh,
sink,
that's a bummer. Okay.
and then waiting to go. Right?
Yeah.
And there's a significant amount of people in there, but nobody else comes in. So by the time it's my turn, Larry David walks in. So now it's just Larry and me with one person going pee. I believe that was Socrates who said that. And then the guy flushes and leaves. So now I have the amount of time to go into the stall, pee, and think of what is the perfect thing to say where I could talk to Larry David without bothering him and show him what I have to offer. An impossible feat that goes through an impressionable fan of somebody who's a little bit narcissistic. I need to show him how great I am. So as I'm peeing, I don't even remember what it was, but I think of like, here's what it is. I'll try this. But I remember that it needed to be just him and me. It would have been a throwaway, whatever it is. It would have been like, tits or, I don't know. But I go out, and unfortunately, someone else had walked in. Who is it other than one of the greatest entertainers of all time, NPH himself? It's Neil Patrick Harris, Larry David, and me in the bathroom. So I immediately concede. I go out, there's Neil Patrick. I didn't think of anything good enough. It's cool that I'm in a bathroom with him. It is what it is, and I wash my hands. A little bit longer than I needed to because I wanted to, be around the king for a little bit longer.
Did they acknowledge each other?
They're talking.
Okay.
They're talking about snowboarding, went on the deep powder or whatever they're talking about. So I'm washing my hands a little bit longer.
Probably talking about their fear of getting skied over. Their
But it was
faces.
boards, not skis. So I'm not. I don't know.
They got edges, motherfucker.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't. I know that whatever they were talking about, I didn't understand enough of it.
Okay.
I just knew they're talking about. Maybe they're talking about that. So I wash my hands. It's time to go. I counted to 20, which I've been doing, by the way, since pre-COVID.
Can I ask one more question?
I would love it.
Has Larry gone in to pee and they're still talking?
So
they're
the,
still
the
waiting
stall
for
is
somebody
open.
else.
No, the stall is open, ready to pee. But Neil and Larry are in the middle of a conversation. So
Okay.
they could. I bet if somebody else walked in, they'd say, "Go ahead. We're talking about snowboarding."
Okay, gotcha.
So I walk past. I'm drying my hands, and Neil Patrick Harris. I don't remember what the question was, but it was something like, "Well, what do you? Don't you agree?" Don't you agree? He was basically making a comedy point by leading me to agree with him. Example: if somebody walked in, I would say, "Hey, don't you think that it's funny that if somebody who's wearing a bacon suit is 50?" Like basically leading them to say yes.
Yeah.
I knew what he was doing. He was using me as a tool to make his point. Now, I don't like to lie. So he asked me that, and I said, "Listen, I don't know what you're talking about, and I don't want to have to just make something up." Then, which was the truth, then I looked over at Larry, and I had his attention, and I said, "This is cool." Or something like, "Oh, like, hey, Neil, you're a great entertainer, blah, blah, blah. Oh, right, hi. Huh? Like, do you like the way I handled this?" And then he went like this. a little laugh, more a noise, and a nod. And then I left. Posture was good. But then once I closed the door, I ran to my friend to tell him what happened. It's like when you dunk on somebody and you act like you've done it a million times. But then secretly, you're like, oh, my God. And then a couple years later, I auditioned for Curb. And I didn't get it, but got some really good laughs. And then a few months later, I go, do you know Jeff Schaefer?
Sure.
Shout out to Jeff. We're having him on the podcast soon.
Hello, Jeff.
And Jeff is one of the EPs on Curb, and they write together and blah, blah, blah. And I'm meeting with Jeff. We're talking about a thing I'm writing. And Larry walks in, and Jeff goes, oh, you remember Rick? He auditioned for the blah, blah, blah. And Larry looks, and he goes, like he's trying to place me. Makes me very uncomfortable because you don't have to do this for me. So I said, and I'm probably just super inspired by him, and I'm a bad version of him, but it's just a Jewish thing. I just said, it's okay. Just like, I don't want you to have to, I don't want to taint anything.
Yeah.
And then he went, like, a thank you. And I just feel like I've met him a few times now, and every interaction has been he probably likes me. He doesn't remember me. You know what I'm saying? But every interaction I've had with him has been like a,
well, I feel like not knowing him personally, but I feel like through watching his comedy, you get I'm sure it's an exaggerated form of who he is, but I think that's likely a version of who he is, and I feel like
it's just Jewish.
You guys share. Well, that wasn't what I was referring to, but
it is. I mean, I grew up with those people.
It seems like you guys, there's some overlap with just the way you are and the,
what I've learned.
I would have said more like not the OCD, but the
neuroses.
Yeah.
I've learned also from speaking with other people and just auditioning with him and seeing how much he actually breaks and laughs and is playing.
Yeah.
And I've heard, I don't remember if it was an interview or somebody that works with him told me, but his character on Curb is who he wishes he could be. Just the confidence to be able to just say what he feels and do what he wants and make people uncomfortable, and it doesn't matter because, hey, it makes sense. But he isn't that way. And he's very nice and silly, and it's just, yeah, I don't know. It was to see Larry laugh, which you don't see much, is just like, I don't know.
Seeing him laugh, that's one of the funniest people in the history of comedy. Laughing, that's a really cool thing.
I'd like to ask you an interviewee question, and then we'll, and I know that we got to wrap this up in a minute.
Oh yeah, I gotta go.
Can we ask this last question, or you want to end it?
Sure.
Watching people break, and this is only or corpse if you're in the UK, and this is only for when it's sincere, not when it's manufactured. Yeah. But when you see people break, as somebody who's being on SNL when you're not supposed to, but when it happens organically, it's usually a win because everyone enjoys it. Is there something to, seeing Bill Hader break when he's, what's the character? I forgot his name. Who Mulaney writes for on the Weekend Update? His artist guy?
Oh, Stefan.
Yes. He breaks all the time in that, but he usually never does. When you see Will Ferrell break, there's something special about it when they don't do it a lot. Is there anything that you could explain from the behind the scenes of that, or somebody who tries not to do that, what it means to you when you see somebody who is one of the greats break? Am I being too ambiguous with that question?
The people that you've brought up as breaking are two of the all-time comedy performers of all time. I said all time twice, but that's fine because that's
when you see even a Kristen Wiig or just these people who are just so unbelievable. When you see them like when as a stand-up, when I'm watching another stand-up on stage and a joke doesn't work, and it's a bomb, right? There's something that where I'm watching that and other comedians watching that, we still want them to succeed and do well, but. Yeah. We laugh at that because it's like, I've been there. I know what that's like. There's kind of this camaraderie of this. But when you laugh, even though you're not supposed to do it, it is still a miss. Is there something when you're watching behind the scenes, or if you're in a scene with somebody and they're laughing, what that does to you? Does it take you out of the scene? Does it make you feel it's funnier? Does that make sense?
that's a complicated question to ask me. I'm against breaking.
Same.
I think that's cheating. That said, when it's not a planned thing, when somebody does it, like if Bill Hader does it, it's not an orchestrated thing. He can be funny. He's the funniest. He's super funny. Will Ferrell, if they break, they don't need it. They don't need the crutch. So it's obviously just happening. There are other people sometimes who will break because the scene's not going well,
as a defense,
and they need something to get a laugh, and that's a bummer. It's.
I don't think I've ever seen you break.
I've never broken.
Never once.
Never once. But I will also say, there's a part of it is. I'm nervous. I get nervous, and I'm just super focused on doing it right. As a result, I there is something for all breakers that I envy, which is sometimes it just comes from this joy of being in the scene, and which I don't always feel because I'm nervous about screwing something up. So I enjoy stuff when it's gone well. You enjoy it after the fact. And every once in a while, you'll enjoy it while you're up there, but I still don't break. So it's this weird thing where it's like, it's my overall feeling is, I don't think people should be breaking. Mm-hmm. I think you should be learning to not break as you're coming up. But shit, when you watch Debbie Downer, that is a magical sketch to watch. Mm-hmm. That first Debbie Downer where everybody's breaking, because Dratch doesn't break all the time. She's not a constant breaker. So like, you just know that something's just happening in her head, which is just you're catching her at the right time.
Right.
And by the way, I bet someday I will laugh at something and I'll feel fine with it breaking because it will be for the right reasons. It won't be as part of your tool bag to get a laugh. It will be because I'm just having fun. And that'll be a positive because I envy the side of that like somebody's so in the moment and so able to let go and enjoy being up there that they can laugh. That said, if you do it too much, then it feels like maybe it's...
What about Jimmy Fallon, who does it a lot, but a lot of the time I believe it's real? Is that a special case, or
I mean,
do you not want to talk about that?
He's a special case because he does do it quite a bit, but he's just so talented and really enjoying himself up there. It's tough because I got friends who do it and they're super funny people. I just for some reason I'm not gonna die on this hill. I don't think that I'm right. I don't break a lot. I don't laugh a ton in real life. I appreciate things, and when I laugh. If something really tickles me in a weird way, I'll laugh the weirdest laughs. But it's not a disrespectful thing. It's just like I'm enjoying it. I'll watch usually like this. But I won't laugh, and I even have a hard time laughing when part of the scene is that I'm supposed to laugh.
Oh.
It's just like it's a weird thing. Like I don't know. It's a weird question to be asked because I don't in any way want my answers to seem like I'm looking down on people who do laugh.
You're allowed to have your
scenes
practice and your tools.
And it's weird for you to bring it up in the two people that you brought it up with were Bill Hader and Will Ferrell, who are two of the funniest people on earth.
Yeah, I've only seen them break a handful of times.
I wouldn't look at them as people who break especially often. I mean, and they're two people I could not have more respect for. Like that they are
kings.
I
know.
Yeah. So
listen, Will,
I hope I answered it in a way that explained this little.
You did. I would love to dive in it more at some point. I want to let you go.
I'm so sorry that I have to leave.
No, I had such a good time with you.
It was really fun.
I want to ask of two things of you, and I'm hoping that you could accomplish both of these.
Yes.
One, I would love to have you back on at some point.
Yes.
And I want to talk more about you with some of these other people who I love so much and get some inside baseball on that, if you're comfortable divulging.
Sure.
And secondly, I gave this book, I bought a whole bunch of them. I gave this book to everybody who came over for 8 nights, and I have the reaction of everybody opening this book, and it's just, I treated it like this was an expensive gift, and some people laughed, some people were uncomfortable because this isn't that great of a gift, some people genuinely did like it, etc. And then I had this idea that I would love to do the same bit every year, meaning this year for the holidays or next year if I have to. And then for the 8th night to have special guests actually come out being Justin Timberlake himself. So I would like your help to help me get Justin Timberlake to come over for a holiday episode. Okay. Can you make that promise?
Can I promise that he'll come over for the episode?
And do a live performance and sign this book for the 8th night.
I promise I will try.
Okay.
Do you have hand sanitizer?
I have hand sanitizer and I have wet paper towels. So I have to
take these off, so give me a little squirt on the way right before.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Take Your Shoes Off podcast. Special guest today is Will Forte. My name is Rick Glassman, and Scoot Doo, Bubbity Blue.
Scoot doo, blabbity blue.